Hey everyone, what is going on? So I wanted to announce that Jokes does have a new video out, so I will leave his YouTube channel in the description down below, as well as I will be shoutcasting somebody's Sinister Cup tournament, so that video should come tomorrow, if not Wednesday, but definitely very soon, and my tournament will be Saturday. But either way, we are going up against my friend Green Heron, so her team will be Alolan Raichu, Dusclops, Alolan Marowak, Poliwrath, Steelix, and Mawile, and my team will be Poliwrath, Alolan Marowak, Mawile, Steelix, Claydol, and Dusclops. So let's see how we do. I really enjoy this team. The Claydol I'm kind of iffy about because if you go up against the Poliwrath with Ice Punch, it does take quite a bit of damage, even though the Confusion will be putting off good damage. So it's like, I mean, it's definitely a good Pokemon. You have a similar problem if you go in with Bronzong, whereas if they go with Dynamic Punch, Bronzong will be taking a lot of damage, so it's like, which one do you go with, right? But I feel like Claydol is probably a little bit better, but of course there's other options like Cresselia. I just don't have a Cresselia, and other Confusion Pokemon like Gallade you could go in with, but they have their advantages as well as their disadvantages, so I guess you could pick whichever one you want. But anyway, for this video, I really wanted to talk about which Pokemon you should use, and why it's important to go in with the Pokemon you feel the most comfortable with. So if you go in, let's take a look at my team. Let's say I only go in with Poliwrath, Steelix, and Dusclops every game, because I feel like out of all these Pokemon, I feel the most comfortable with Poliwrath, Steelix, Mawile, and Dusclops. So generally speaking, most of the time, you see me with only those Pokemon. So if I go in with Poliwrath, Steelix, and Dusclops every single game, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, obviously, when it depends on your opponent's team. They could have a unique team. Maybe somebody's going with like 5 ghost types. Like, I don't think somebody would, but you'll adjust accordingly. But for the most part, and I didn't do it in all of these battles, but for the most part, those are the 4 Pokemon I feel the most comfortable with when it comes to this cup. Like for the Jungle Cup, it seemed like I always brought like Vigoroth and Noctowl, and it was like, I think it was Wigglytuff for the last one when they introduced Charm, but it was a mix between like 3 and 4 Pokemon. So even if you only go in with a certain amount, like 3 Pokemon every single game, because you've used those the most and you feel the most comfortable with them, that is okay. But anyway, let's see what happens in this game. We did take the first game, but it was very close. I do have my Poliwrath against her Dusclops, so her Dusclops is very weak. Just going to farm it down with Bubble at this point and see what comes in. It's going to be that Alolan Raichu. I do bluff with the Dynamic Punch to try and catch the shield. We do catch it, so that's good for us. I do switch into Claydol. She switches into Poliwrath. So again, good situation for us, actually missing a bunch of bubbles in the beginning. We do knock out the Poliwrath. Then the Alolan Raichu comes out. I do shield this because I wasn't sure if she had Grass Knot, and because I had 2 shields, so I knew I would be able to get to the Earth Power, so I figured, why not shield them? I mean, obviously we could take Thunder Punches, we could take Wild Charges, but there's really no reason not to shield them at this point. So I do shield, and then I go for the Earth Power and just knock out the Alolan Raichu. So that was another good game. Thanks a lot for the game, Green Heron. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure battling you. So we're battling in the Ultra League, but with Great League Pokemon, just to get the badge, as you guys know. But for this match, I do lead with Poliwrath. She leads with Steelix. She's going to recall it for Poliwrath, and I get off the Dynamic Punch immediately, try and do a lot of damage, and we do a lot of damage. Going to switch into Claydol. I guess I could have switched without using the Dynamic Punch into Claydol, but she actually goes for the Dynamic Punch, which is good for me. I was actually thinking it might be an Ice Punch, although that Dynamic Punch still did a decent amount of damage. But she does bring in Mawile. I will go for this Earth Power to try, and I don't think that would have knocked it out, but it would have done a lot. We actually get the defense drop, so that's nice. And then we'll bring in my Poliwrath. Now, I knew this was not a play rough, so obviously I'm not going to block it. And I get off a power-up punch of my own. Dynamic Punch, excuse me. And she's going to go ahead and shield that. So we're in a really good position at this point because we are up 2 shields. I do get off a Dynamic Punch. I have a feeling she was trying to get to a play rough. I could be wrong. Maybe not. Maybe she was just going for a power-up punch. But anyway, she brings in the Steelix. I will go ahead and shield this because I know I can get to Dynamic Punch as I do. So we do go ahead and get off a dynamic punch, and that is going to finish off Steelix. So we do go ahead and pick up this win. So another good game, as always. Guys, let me know how your tournaments have been going. Have you had a Sinister Cup tournament yet? As I said, mine is going to be on Saturday, so I'm really excited about that. So for this game, I lead Mawile, she leads Alolan Mawak. Now, it was probably my mistake not to switch out because she does have a Fire Fang variant, and that is doing a lot of damage to my Mawile. So I actually shield this, thinking that I don't know. I could have knocked it out before it got to another, or before she got to another one, and then she just immediately has another Bone Club. So she does knock me out there. So definitely a mistake on my end. I don't know what I was thinking, but I probably should have. I should have switched out the Mawile probably after I saw it was a Fire Spin variant. But anyway, I do go for the Shadow Punch against her Dusclops, and we actually get back-to-back Shadow Punches. So that's good for me. Not expecting a shield as she doesn't, so keeping the shield, we're actually going to get another Shadow Punch off, so either going to knock her out or take a shield, so we do go ahead and take that shield. So I decided to let this damage come through from Shadow Punch and try to feint it down. Unfortunately, she does get to another one, so I will let my Dusclops go down right now. Then I bring in Poliwrath, and I do want to charge up energy, so I have energy for whatever is in the back, enough move. So I'm just going to feint this down with Bubble. Couldn't use a charge move anyway. And a final Pokemon is that Poliwrath. So we will go for Dynamic Punch. Gonna be an uphill battle at this point because she lets the Dynamic Punch go off, but I knew she would be able to get to another Dynamic Punch before me. Yes, I have a shield, and I can get to another Dynamic Punch as I do right now. But she has a shield, so as I said, she's going to block it, and then she's going to be able to get to a Dynamic Punch right now. So that was pretty much what I knew. I was so close to it, I just got to it, but she CMP'd me, she got there, and she got off Dynamic Punch. So very close game, but she does go ahead and win that one. But again, messed up in the beginning. Shouldn't have probably kept in the Mawile against the Fire Spin Alolan Mawak, but that is okay. But for the next game, it's Steelix versus Mawile, so pretty good for me. I mean, Mawile does okay, I guess, against Steelix with Power Punch and then boosting the Bite. Still does a lot of damage. We get off a Crunch against Dusclops, and we're going to go ahead and go for another Crunch. So let's see if she shields. She does shield, so I'm going to pull the switch into Dusclops right now. We get off a Shadow Punch, and I know she's charging up energy, but we're actually able to knock her Dusclops out, so that's really good for us. She gets off the Power Up Punch, not concerned about it at all. Actually, I'm concerned about the increased damage. I'm not concerned about the Power Up Punch itself. But we get off the Fire Punch, so really good for us. Trying to get to a Shadow Punch before we go down, so we do. We do get to it, and she is going to actually shield that, so that's good for us. She is down 2 shields. We still have both of ours available. Now, I knew this was not a play rough, so I wasn't concerned with it. Not doing a lot of damage, we're able to feint down with Bubble. And that Alolan Mawak comes in, and all we have to do is click on Hydro Pump. I would have shielded if she used a charge move because I had 2 shields, but not necessary, so we do go ahead and win that one. So another good game, as always. So we'll jump into yet another one. And we lead with Poliwrath. She leads with Alolan Mawak. And let's see what happens. We're just going to go to town with Bubbles. She pulls the switch into Poliwrath. So we charge up energy for the Dynamic Punch. And we're going to go ahead and fire it off. And then I'm just deciding to keep in the Poliwrath to go for another Dynamic Punch. I am going to let this Dynamic Punch go through because I know I could take it. And we get off another Dynamic Punch, so either going to knock Poliwrath out or take a shield, so both of which is fine. And I was pretty confident I could get to another one, as I do. So, again, same situation, either going to knock it out or take her final shield. So we do take the shield. She does win that matchup, but that's okay with me because we took both of her shields. And now, let's see what happens. She actually goes for a charge move. I think I shield this. Yeah, I do shield it because I was really afraid of Hydro Pump. I figured she had the energy for it, so I didn't want to take any chances, and I wasn't sure what her secondary move was. I don't think she had used Ice Punch on me this game, so it was Dynamic Punch, and it could have been Hydro Pump. I wasn't sure. So I did shield that. Gonna go for the Shadow Punch against this Alolan Mawak. We actually get off another Shadow Punch. Didn't want to get a hit with a Shadow Ball, so I just went with my Shadow Punch. And then the next Pokemon to come in is Steelix, so we're gonna get to fire punch, and I love how fast Dusclops charges. It's absolutely insane. I believe she does get to the Earthquake before we do. Yes, she does. So we're going to get hit with an Earthquake, but I'm okay with that because I knew I could take it, and I knew we would be able to knock out her Steelix with Earthquake. So really good position for me because she brings in a very weak Poliwrath, and we both go down at the same time. But I still have a Pokemon in the back, so we're actually going to claim this one. So we do go ahead and win this game. And I could have played that one a little bit differently. I didn't have to shield both times, I guess. When I did, but I did. Anyway, we had a little issue in the beginning. I lagged in the beginning, then she lagged a little bit, so I stopped attacking, and it looked like she started attacking, so I'm not sure who got the extra damage in. It might have affected the game. In the tournament, we probably would have restarted this, but I still decided to include the battle, so it could have went either way. But anyway, she brings in Dusclops. I noticed her not attacking, so I let her get in, I think 1 or 2 hits, just because I might have gotten an advantage the round before with the Alolan Marowak. But anyway, now we're going on, and her Dusclops is going to hit me with a Shadow Punch, and I am going to take it. Again, more lag, just waiting for the attack to come through. As I said, we can take it. Unfortunately, we get hit with another one, so I'm going to go ahead and shield this because I want to get off a Shadow Ball as I do, so either taking the last shield or knocking out the Dusclops, and we do take the last shield, so I'm just going to let my Alolan Marowak go down at this point. I do bring in Poliwrath, and if both of them are at full health, Dusclops generally wins because of how fast it gets to Shadow Punch, but because Dusclops is really weak, we're just going to be able to farm it down. We still take a lot of damage from it, so as you can see, our health is just going down and down and down. We're actually going to be in the red, but I knew I would still be able to knock out Dusclops with Bubble, but it was still very close. And then I hit whatever comes in with the Hydro Pump. I didn't know it was going to be Poliwrath. It could have done Dynamic Punch, but I went with it. Anyway, we bring in Claydol, and we're going to shield just in case the Ice Punch comes out, as it is an Ice Punch, and we're going to knock out Poliwrath and take that game. And that will be it for this video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.